On today's show, how did the LA Clippers blow a game to the Minnesota Timberwolves that they had in the palm of their hands? A 1 point loss, 93-92 to end the road trip. What went so wrong? And what do I think we could have done differently to try to win that one? Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and in my 20th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper content. I went live directly after the game on Friday night. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Let me know what you think of this episode, the loss, and of course, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video. And remember, if you can't watch on YouTube, this originally was a podcast only, so you can always listen on audio. And we also have a newsletter nowadays. I write it. Every host writes it. It's about 500 words. It's your free Locked On Clippers daily newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Just sign up for free now. It really helps your boy at LockedOnDaily.com. And of course, get a little piece on the Clippers. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Now, Clipper Nation, happy weekend, everybody. Ended the road trip 2-2, currently 4-2 without Norman Powell, and 12-9 on the season after this one. 5-5 on the road. All things considered, I'd say that's pretty good. But the nature in which we lost this 93-92 NBA Cup game to the Timberwolves, that makes us now 1-2 in the group stage of this Cup, which, again, I really don't give a damn about. But the loss itself was frustrating. You know, the Minnesota Timberwolves have lost 4 games in a row. They are a desperate team, but they were also a vulnerable team, a team that's not playing the same kind of basketball. Most noticeably, defensively, they do not look the same as they did last year, which when they lose a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, you would think that, their offense is going to suffer. The spacing with Randall's not going to be as good. But the defense really has fallen off, and I can spend some time talking about that, but this is Locked On Clippers, not Locked On Timberwolves. There is a Locked On Timberwolves. Shout out to my guys over there. Still haven't collabed with them yet, but hopefully one day. We were down by as many as 11 in this game. And in typical 2024-25 Clipper fashion, we stayed in it with our defense. You know, they only scored 93 points. And Jim Jackson or Brian Seaman, one of them, said that the Timberwolves hadn't gotten a win yet scoring under 100 points. You know, in all their wins, I think it was all their wins were over 110. Yeah, every single win. Let's see what their lowest scoring game was in a win. It was 112 against the Toronto Raptors. So 112 was their, you know, they hadn't won a game scoring under 100, and they did that. And Mike Conley, who's been not the same, like it looks like finally Clipper Nation, we're super close to getting this guy out of the league, because. And I say this jokingly, he has tormented us his entire career. I made the joke on my channel last night. He could be on his deathbed and the Clippers roll into town, and all of a sudden he's got just a little bit of juice left to play one basketball game and be a pest defensively and make smart plays and make big shots and shoot efficiently from 3. You know, obviously defensively now he's older. It's not the same, but man, he used to give CP3, Jamal Crawford, those guys a tough time. I will celebrate when Mike Conley retires, but I'll also have the utmost respect for him, because all my criticism of him is on with him killing the Clippers. It's nothing about his character, nothing about the way he plays. It was frustrating to see him have a good game, because I've been watching the Timberwolves games. He's not been hitting. And then Dante DiVincenzo, who I thought was incredible last year in the playoffs for the Knicks, has had a completely disappointing start to his Timberwolves tenure, and he made that ridiculous bank shot to make it, I believe, 85-80 or something, or give them a 3-point lead, 83-80. That was so annoying in the fourth quarter. So there was some, even with the 93 points, they still made some shots that I thought were a little improbable. But we handed them the game with our late game mishaps, our turnovers. Mainly Chris Dunn. Look, Chris Dunn deserves as much credit as anyone not named Norm, Zoo, and James Harden for the way we've played so far this season and this 12-9 start without Kawhi. His defense is sublime. First team all defense considerations should be on the table. But offensively, he's starting to have some rough ones. And the obvious one is the shot going cold. And he was 0 for 5 from the field in this game and 0 for 2 from 3. His only 2 points came from the line in which he made both of his free throws. But we've seen several times this season, especially some of the games at Intuit Dome that we were losing in the beginning of the season, where he's thrown the ball away in the backcourt. I don't even think it is partially carelessness, but it's also like a little bit of pressure, and he's like really looking to get rid of the ball and like almost not trusting his handle enough, which I don't think as a guard, you should never have that fear. Like that's, to me, the worst fear is even worse than the shot is if you're a guard that's supposed to handle the ball, like you consider yourself a point guard in any capacity and you're scared to bring it up against. And a lot of times he's not trapped. It's literally one-on-one. So like, I really mess with Chris Dunn. But he's got to have a little more trust in that because him throwing the ball away when KPJ was turning around. And yeah, KPJ should be a little bit more aware. But like, come on. Like, that's just not a pass you throw. You're not a center. Like, you shouldn't be in some rush to get rid of the ball. That was costly because they scored, made it 90-89. After James Harden had that big-time 4-point play and, he and Zoo kind of were getting into their late pick-and-roll game that was going to, what I thought, propel us to the win. And then the other costly turnover was the slip. Now, honestly, it happens. Maybe he was going a little too fast. It's unfortunate that it was the same player that had the slip. But I heard some fans talking about timeout. I disagree. We're down by 1. I think, before Gobert can get down there, I'm very pro not calling timeouts anymore. Because what happens is, too, with the timeout thing is in the half court late in games, and this has always been the case in NBA history, is the ref starts swallowing the whistle, like in the last 30 seconds of a game type of deal. There's way more contact allowed before the ball even gets inbounded. And so, for one, and then obviously the on-ball contact, like, all the Laker fans and mostly LeBron fanboys, keep bragging about that one time in the bubble when LeBron hand-checked super hard against Kawhi and Paul George, and it caused, he didn't more than hand-check. He literally grabbed his arm, and Kawhi flailed, and then he ended up getting the shot up, and LeBron was right chest to chest, or he passed to Paul George, I think. Like, that whole possession that they give him so much credit for, he got away with a lot of contact that he probably wouldn't normally get away with in the course of a game. So I think a scramble when you have to force the defense to talk. You can't let them get set. You can't let them scheme. Are they going to switch everything on this possession? Are they going to, you know what I'm saying? They don't get to reconvene and discuss what they want to do. So I just think in that situation, we're down by 1. I think the right call was to let him go. He slipped. It's very unfortunate. I just think the previous turnover was the one. That was the one. I mean, we're up by 3 points. You know what I'm saying? We've got them on the ropes. That was big. And then maybe the most surprising thing of all, and I'm going to have some more to say about Ty Lue, especially for that crowd that really has a problem with Ty Lue, and I always say you guys are too harsh. I got something for you today. But how are we not calling timeout? I'm sorry, not fouling. That was insane. There was a 3 to 4 second differential with the game clock and shot clock, and we're not fouling? We don't have a guy, because, look, we don't have Paul George anymore. And even with Kawhi and Norman Powell, we'd still have this issue, to be honest, but obviously not to the same extent. Who can, in 3 seconds, get a clean look-off against somebody with someone draped in their face? Paul George was the best option for that. James Harden needs time to get to his stuff. Kawhi is he's a little more methodical. When has Kawhi made a big shot for us in that capacity? Catch the ball and just go. He needs time. That shot against Charlotte that he made was jab step, had the ball at the elbow. That shot against Houston he made this first season, he had time. That was like he had the ball in his hands pounding it. So like it's not the same as what Paul George did. You know, Paul George is 6'9", and he's got an overhead release. He can get a shot up over anybody. That's what makes it even more ridiculous that guy didn't shoot more shots for us. But he's dead and gone. that was mean. You know, he's long gone. Dead from the Clipper world for now. It's insane that we didn't call time. We didn't foul. And then his defense after the game. And I've been very nice to Ty Lue. I think he's done a spectacular job so far this season. And I'm not as mad as I seem, but you know I've been very even keel so far this season. So like that really just the way we lose. How do you not foul? How do you not foul? He said, I thought they were going to take a quick shot. What makes you think a team that, for the most part, all of their players made the Western Conference Finals last year is going to take a quick shot? They have Mike Conley on the team. You know, like the quick shot. What are you talking about? Like taking that gamble is just nuts. Especially when, like, what if they miss a free throw? You had plenty of time. We wasted the whole clock and then we didn't rebound. And Nico Batum, I love you, bro, but that effort on the offensive, on the glass there on that possession, just ball watching like that, come on, man. Like, you don't compete all game to throw away a game like that. Like, you not throw away, but you know that's just like, listen, coaches make mistakes, so like I have to be empathetic to that in that regard, because even as a youth coach, AAU. Whatever it may be, I relate because I've made mistakes. And professional coaches don't get any grace for it. So it is what it is. I'm not saying he cost us the game. I think Chris Dunn messed up. I got some stuff to say about Harden and Zoo as well. But we should have fouled. That was insane. A lesson learned, though. Coming up, going to talk a little bit about the late game execution that I had an issue with from our side. What we can do better going forward. I got to tell you a little something about skylight frames. Do you struggle to find the perfect gift during the holidays? I really do. You do not want me to be your secret Santa. Like, nah. Maybe gift giving isn't your love language. I can relate to that. You overthink it big time and wind up with something disappointing or nothing at all. Wow, this sounds like it was made for me. Are you buying for someone who has everything or just seems unpleasable? We've got the perfect gift for you. Skylight Frame is the touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will love. Upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. It's so easy to use. The setup takes less than a minute. You can invite friends and family to easily share photos via the free Skylight mobile app or email. So the sharing is seamless. And the touchscreen is a game changer. You can just swipe through photos, tap to see new photos sent, tap the heart button to say thank you, everything. And now is a special limited time offer for our listeners. Get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight Frame when you go to skylightframe.com/NBA. That's SKYLIGHTFRAME.com/NBA. Get $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com/NBA. Get $20 off a Skylight Frame at skylightframe.com/NBA. All right, so Clippers losing 93-92. The game didn't just come down to the last couple of minutes, but to be honest with you, I'll go in more depth about that, but I had an issue with our late game execution. James Harden, I thought he was our best player in the game, was able to get 2 feet in the paint, was attacking Julius Randle pretty relentlessly in pick and roll and doing a good job, getting downhill and making plays. And I thought it was a genius idea to have James Harden guard Randle, throughout the game, because the one thing James Harden can do is hold his ground when someone tries to, bully him. He's very strong. He's always been that way. And he's crafty with the way he uses his hands. He's got good hands. He did a better job on Randle than Randle did on him. And I thought James Harden might have had his best defensive game of the season. He was super active in the passing lanes, reading passes in flight. 5 steals, a season high for him. had 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 11 assists to go along with it. Turned the ball over 4 times. But here was my gripe. He was 7 for 20 from the field and 3 for 9 from 3. He missed his last 4 shots. And one of them was because he literally just refused to cut, essentially. And he doesn't really cut ever. He had like one time where he cut this season, had a dunk. Everybody, the whole bench was going nuts. But Kevin Porter Jr. had the ball. He was trying to drive right. Harden's man was, walling it off. The lane for the cut was there. It was very obvious, but I knew he wasn't going to do it. Instead, he spaced out to the right. KPJ, but there was another man in the corner right next to him. So pass went over, and James didn't really have room to operate, and we had a bad possession. So that was part of why he missed one shot. And then the other one, he did the Paul George, where he got the step and then snatched it back. Took a tougher shot than he needed to. So he missed 4 straight. At the end of the game, it was just KPJ, Harden taking turns running pick and roll. Evita Zubatz was scoring on Rudy Gobert throughout the game. Jump hooking him to death. Here's the thing about Rudy Gobert. I think he's an all-time great rim protector, but I don't think he's a very good one-on-one defender. Like, I think he's just good, nothing special. And when he plays Anthony Davis and when he plays Jokic, you see that these skilled big men give him some problems. He's, to me, lucky that he's played in an era where you don't have good post-up and one-on-one bigs. You have a lot of pick-and-pop bigs. Zoo was jump hooking him to death like he was just any other defender in the league. And we just didn't go to him late. We just used Zoo as a screener. And I think that's partially on the coaching staff. Like, you've been good about, like, drawing up stuff for Zoo to get looks. I feel like we weren't doing that late. 16 points, 13 rebounds in the game for Zoo to go along with an assist, a steal, just 1 turnover. And he shot 8 for 9 from the field. So we have a guy shooting 89%, and we're letting Harden and KPJ just use him as a roller. And I also think Harden, if people want to give him all the credit for orchestrating and knowing what buttons to push, he was getting too pick and roll heavy. Throw the ball and just space. To me, we got to use, when Zoo's having games like that, we got to use him late. Like, why not? Because we've lost our fair share of close games this season. And it's clear that James Harden, we're putting a lot on him. I'm watching the game and I'm just like, possession after possession, this is difficult for him. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I don't fully do the whole pity party with him, is like, I know he likes doing it, but he's got to understand the limitations. And then KPJ, his process is bad. He played a very good game, though, in my opinion, in this game. Although I don't understand his decision to go underneath the screen with Ant-Man, with the way he's been shooting from 3 this season, late in the game when Ant-Man made that 3 from the right wing. That was costly. But he was very good in the passing lanes as well. Had it tied, I believe, his career high in steals with 3. And he had 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. But he was 6 for 10 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, 4 of 5 from the line. So 60, 50, 80 splits. Amazing. 17 points, our second leading scorer after Harden. But he turned the ball over 5 times. And I just don't love his process still. I don't believe that the way he plays will translate in the playoffs or against high-level competition. And when it's bad, it's really bad. But we don't have much of another choice. And when Ty, he played a lineup in this game that was total bench towards the end of the first quarter, and we ended up going down 40-29 because it was like Kevin Porter, Nico, Terrence, Jordan Miller, and Mo Bamba. Like, that lineup, it's only on KPJ to create shots because Terrence is not going to create his own shot. Jordan Miller's showing us some stuff, and I liked how at the end of the first quarter, even though KPJ had 5 straight points, one on a step-back mid-range, and then the other got fouled on a 3, that Jordan Miller was like, nah, I'm going to create this last possession. Like, I love that. So it's good to see him growing in confidence. Usually I wouldn't be a fan of that. When a guy's hot, let him have it, but KPJ's been like a ball hog, so Jordan Miller, I'm happy to see that. But my overall point of this segment is to emphasize that I don't like that we go away from Zoo. But that's a thing that a lot of teams do when they have a guy that's a good big man but it's not a star. They don't go to that guy. They prefer to run pick and roll because that's the NBA now. Pick and roll, perimeter, drive and kick. But and it's never been conventional to go to a big man late in the game because of free throws. But we struggle offensively. We just do. And I think Zoo's an underrated free throw shooter for a big. He can be inconsistent. He's not been shooting too often the line this year. But I don't know. I just feel it's a lot for Harden and KPJ to just do it's not a good process to me. But coming up, going to talk a little bit more about the adjustments that were made defensively for both teams and some news on Kawhi Leonard finally. How about that? I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. And right now on FanDuel, looking at the odds, Chargers at Falcons on Sunday. How about a little Rams at Saints on Sunday? Rams are -2.5. Chargers are -1.5. So where can you bet on those games and more? FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, Clipper Nation, we lost 93-92 to the Wolves. We're 12-9, returning home for a game against the Denver Nuggets on Sunday. I will be in the building, and it's Russell Westbrook's return. But we got a little more to talk about here. Let's talk about some more specific things. So, lost the game because of late game stuff, just mishaps. Not going to Evita Zubatz late. Too much James Harden and KPJ pick and roll for me. But we'll talk about some of the sequences of the game. Gobert was guarding Zoo. Mike Conley started on Chris Dunn. Jaden McDaniels on Harden. Ant on Coffee. Randall on DJ. They were switching 1 through 4. And James Harden, you know which matchup he liked right there. Julius Randle. And he was getting a lot of success with that. Thought James Harden got off to a really solid start. And as I said, was our best player on the night. And has really looked better scoring the ball lately. On our side, we had Chris Dunn on Ant-Man. Derrick Jones Jr. on Mike Conley. Amir Coffey on Jaden McDaniels. Zubatz guarding Gobert, and James Harden on Randall, and they tried to go at Harden, and he did a good job. We were switching 1 through 4. The Wolves were also switching 1 through 4, as I mentioned just a second ago. Zoo, Bamba, and Gobert were in drop. I'll talk about the adjustment made in a sec. Naz Reid, was hedging on the ball screens usually, and so then I noticed that Evita Zubatz was hedging on Ant-Man, meaning coming out to the level of the screen, trying to take away that immediate downhill drive or that shot, leaving his man open for short roll possibilities, which puts the back line under responsibility to take away that pass. We've said, and I've talked about on this show, Evita Zubatz has been labeled, and for solid reason, a drop coverage merchant, or a guy that can only play drop coverage defense, protect the rim, he can't come out to the perimeter. Well, I think he did a really good job in this game after we started hedging those ball screens to not let Ant turn the corner. Get high hands, come out, be physical. And with that, Derrick Jones Jr., Chris Dunn, those guys in the back line, even James Harden, who can read passes well, especially to start that third quarter, we were shut down. We were causing turnovers left and right. So what I'm saying is that Zoo, he might be able to come out and hedge now. And with our backside protection, when we get Kawhi back, oh my God, the possibilities, guys. The possibilities. I'm going to talk about Kawhi in a sec, but I got to tease it a little longer because we still got some more. I want to see with me, I took a second to release the pod because, I'm trying to get all my thoughts in order. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I like to do the dime dropper live, just get everything out, and then I can organize it for here. Let me just say this. Amir Coffey, homecoming game. I thought he played pretty well. Got us going with 2 threes early in the game, but anytime you can get Amir Coffey in double figures and efficient shooting, you'll take that. I think at times he overhelped on defense. Even Jim Jackson called it out a couple times in commentary. But for the most part, a solid performance. 12 points, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 turnover on 5 for 10 shooting and 2 for 4 from 3. So 50-50 in 24 minutes. Double figures, you'll absolutely take that. As far as, it was interesting with Terrence Mann. We were keeping him in late in the game, and then finally we put Chris Dunn back in, and Chris Dunn ended up making very costly plays. But I still defend Ty's decision to put him back in because Terrence, I don't remember who commented this, whether it was Twitter or it was comments for YouTube. But they mentioned that they don't feel that Terrence Mann has the same level of athleticism that he once had before that ankle injury to start last season. And that person might have been right. Because some of those moments in that game on Friday night, he's on a fast break. One time he should have thrown it up to Jordan Miller and he didn't because he trusted his ability to finish. He'd be dunking these. He's never been, I know there's a confidence thing with Terrence. His confidence is wavering like it's, a youth basketball player at times. But I've never seen T. And remember, I say that, and he is my favorite player on the team, and I back him 100%. But I've never seen him be this hesitant to go up at the basket. At the basket was his bread and butter. Even in transition, he's getting blocked more than normal. He used to elevate even higher. I don't know. Does he not trust that athleticism anymore after that injury? Because he got blocked. He's not doing enough for me. I thought he had some good moments defensively in this game, though, like in the passing lanes. 3 steals. But he had 2 points. He had the highest plus-minus of any player. But again, single-game plus-minus doesn't do it for me. 2 points, 1 assist, 3 steals. I do like, though, how we had multiple role players, again, with 0 turnovers. Terrence, Mo, Nico, and Jordan all had 0 turnovers. And the sad part is we forced 22 turnovers and we didn't win. You forced 22 turnovers, you didn't win. It's okay. Terrence Mann, 1 for 5. 0 for 2 from 3. He gets blocked more than he ever did. I love Terrence, but if Kawhi were to come back, I don't see how... KPJ, I get it. We don't like the way he plays a lot of us and stuff like that. But he can create shots, and we just don't have it. Terrence is not going to be a shot creator guy. I think having Kawhi will help Terrence a ton because it's another guy that can take some attention. Because when you put Terrence in with that second unit with KPJ the only shot creator, Terrence is not going to get good looks all the time because it's KPJ is his leading shot creator. And it's a lot of half court. But that's my fear is I always say that. It's a lot of half court doesn't suit Terrence, but in transition and on the break, he's getting blocked. I'm a little concerned. But he's been better off the bench generally. But yeah, played 20 minutes, had 2 points. Mo Bamba played 14 minutes. So yeah, that total bench unit, that wasn't great. From the first quarter, in my opinion. And Minnesota, they started hot from 3, and I was like, let's see, what did they shoot from 3? 38.5%. So there you go. They shot 41% in the game, 38.5%. 41% from the field, 38.5% from 3. And 80% from the foul line. We shot 43% from the field and 32% from 3. They ended up making 5 more threes than us. So that mattered. But we did a good job, though, responding from every run. They went up 16-8, then we went on a 7-0 run. They went up 40-29, and then Zoo and James Harden came in and restored order after that total bench unit was not great. And as far as that total bench unit, Mo Bamba, first loss as a Clipper, but I'm still of the impression that he might be a fake pick and pop big. He was 0 for 2 from 3, 1 for 6 from the field. 1 for 5 from the field. Had no rebounds. Had 2 points, 1 assist, and 2 blocks. It wasn't a very good game for him, but I don't know about him as a pick and pop big. He might be a fake pick and pop big. But again, maybe I'm being too reactionary and it's too early. So yeah, as I said, I think going forward, we got to have one of Harden or Zoo in the game. I just don't think it's a KPJ and friends. That's not it. let's see. That's all I got for first half stuff. We were down 53-47 at halftime. We got outscored by 1 point in the first quarter. And then in the third quarter, we outscored them 21-19. Another quarter where we allow less than 20. I love that. Like the way we started that third quarter with forcing 3 straight turnovers and then had 2 buckets on them, on 2 buckets on 2 of them. That was a great way to begin it. And Derrick Jones Jr. and Amir Coffey were a part of that. I mentioned Amir Coffey's stat line earlier, but Derrick Jones Jr., just 6 points, 1 rebound, 2 steals, 2 turnovers on 3 for 8 shooting and 0 for 2 from 3 in 24 minutes. So one of his more pedestrian games. But I don't know. I just don't think Derrick Jones Jr. really has bad games. He's had maybe 1 this season. He still contributes in so many ways. So yeah, those are the stat lines of all of our starters. I thought, and then Jordan Miller, he played 11 minutes, had 3 points, 3 boards, and an assist. No turnovers, but he didn't shoot well in this one. 1 for 5 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. But I'm still in very much support of him getting minutes and getting this opportunity with Norm out. There's obviously a case that when Norm comes back, Terrence should be taken out. But I still think Jordan on a 2-way contract, I think you keep Terrence in there. But when Kawhi comes back, that's something. Then the last guy whose stat line I have not read is... So, yeah, by the way, a double-double for Harden, a double-double for Zoo. Those guys are killing it this season. They've been our guys. And, of course, Norm Powell is that third guy, given that he's missed a couple games now. We're 4-2 without him. Definitely miss him. Now, Nico Batum, I thought he made some big-time shots, and it's great to see that his 3-ball is kind of coming back. He was 4 for 7 from the field. And all of his shots were threes. Had 12 points. So you got Nico in double figures. He had 2 boards, 1 assist, and a steal to go along with it, and no turnovers. The Timberwolves had an adjustment, though, that kind of bothered us, and that was gave us a taste of our own medicine. Gobert, who's usually a drop coverage merchant as well, was coming out to hedge the screens on Harden, and that was causing him to pick up his dribble a bit and turn the ball over a little bit. So, yeah, that was tough. But, yeah, that was about it. As far as the Kawhi Leonard news, so this is good news. Apparently, he has progressed to on-court workouts, and he's been shooting again. And he's slowly working his way back. And Ty said we're not going to rush him, but it's great to hear that he's back on the court. I'm thinking either late December Christmas present or early January. As long as we can stay within 3 games of 500, under or over, preferably obviously over, or even 500. That's all we need. That's all. You can give every single player that's gotten rotation minutes can take a bow if we can do that until Kawhi comes back. But then it comes down to when Kawhi comes back, how will his knee respond to games? You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more Clipper content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Make sure you let me know what you thought of the episode and the game. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video. Really appreciate it. Let's get up to 7,000 because we got the most underrated fan base in basketball. And Locked On Clippers daily newsletter available on LockedOnDaily.com. You already know the place to be. Locked On newsletter, baby. LockedOnDaily.com. The age-old proverb continues. On to the Denver game. I'll see you guys at the game. Let's go, Clippers.